guys, welcome back. My name is Jaspreet and I'm back with another video. Today I'm going to show you how I make my little house luminaries or hanging house lights. This is another Christmas project and it's again really simple. And I love simple projects for a couple of reasons. One, it makes pottery a lot more accessible. Now this is something that you can make if you use your regular stoneware clay, or if you use air dry polymer clay, you can make these projects with those clays as well, provided you use a battery operated tea light or light inside. Also, one more thing that I have kind of heard consistently over the years is that the way I make things looks really simple. And that's a great compliment because it makes things a lot more accessible for a lot more people. That you make it look so simple that I want to try it, that I can do it too. And that's wonderful, because when I discovered pottery about 4 years ago, it was, I think, one of the best discoveries of my life. And I say that over and over again, not just on the business front, like I'm a maker and a small business owner today, but also for my mental health. I think I discovered at a time when I was going through a lot personally, and it really helped me calm down and put things in perspective. So this was therapy for me at that point. So I think it's great that more people can access it, find it more accessible, because there are a lot of steps in pottery. There's a lot of technical stuff that goes into it, and yes, after some time that becomes second nature. You understand it a lot better, but initially it feels like a lot. So if you can break down just one part of the process and make it accessible, the rest of it I think looks a little bit more easier. So that was one. And the second reason, because I am a small business owner and a maker who sells her work, I need to be able to make things which I can make more of in a shorter span of time. That way I can place a value on it which is a lot more accessible for a lot more of my customers. Right now, there are projects that I've made over the years which have taken me days to complete. Now, something like that, to put a value to something like that is incredibly difficult for me. And secondly, I don't think at this point my work would command that kind of value, irrespective of the amount of time I've spent making it. So it helps to have these simpler projects which can be executed in a shorter span of time, so you can actually make it into a viable business where you're able to sell them at a price point which is a lot more acceptable. Now, when I talk about price points, yes, handmade goods, handmade pottery is a luxury. You cannot compare with the factory-made goods. $2 mug, your mug is still going to cost $30, $40, $50, $60, $70, $100. It's definitely worth that price. But even in the handmade pottery realm, I need certain pieces which a lot of people may not be ready to invest in at this point, especially if they've just got to know me or they're meeting me for the first time. So these smaller, simpler projects, which are at a slightly lower price point, are relatively easier to make an investment into. So that's the other reason I like making these simpler projects. And I've got some really lovely messages from some of you regarding the flower tea light holders. That you've got a positive response in your markets for those tea light holders, and that makes me so happy. And that's what this community is about, and I really enjoy doing this every week, coming up with something new, with teaching something new. I hope you guys enjoy it too. I think that's enough lecture about simplicity of things and why I like them simple. Let's get started with actually making these things. Let's start by taking a look at the different houses that I've made. These are all, if you see, they aren't exactly the same. Some of them are slightly broader, some of them are slightly narrower. So for these, I did not use any fixed template. I just use these rollers from Dela Designs. They're really cute rollers. One of them is more Christmas winter theme with a gingerbread house, a snowman, a gingerbread woman, a gingerbread man, Christmas tree, and this one is all pumpkins, more fall themed. But these are the rollers that I used. You see, this is the height of the house as a reference that I used. For width, I'll just roll it and see what works. I will give you the final dimensions. I will list them somewhere in the video, in the description. But that's how I made these. Again, they were more organic, didn't use a specific template, and that's why they had slightly different characters, and that's okay. I'll just quickly let you know what are the glazes. This is amber celadon from Clayscapes, and this is soft white from Spectrum. This is a dip and pour glaze. I just brushed it on. This is again a brush on glaze, so that's brushed on. This is Weeping Plum from Amico, and this is Satin Speck from Spectrum. This one I did just dip in like this in the bucket, and this was brushed on. This is Snapdragon from Amico and Soft White from Spectrum. This is Holly Green from Spectrum and Satin Speck from Spectrum. This is Satin Speck from Spectrum all over the house. So these are the glazes that I've used, and you can see this is again a simple organic project. I will list down the dimensions for you, don't worry, but just still sharing, that doesn't have to be that precise, it doesn't have to be that, you know, exactly the same dimensions. You can always try different sizes and see what you like best. Here's my slab, small slab today, and this is rolled to 1/4 of an inch in thickness, and I have thinned it down a little bit more by, you know, kind of throwing it on the board like this, because these are small, the houses are not that big, right? These are small houses, so I don't mind if they are slightly thinner, and that's okay for me. So I'm just throwing down the clay. You don't have to do it this way, you can always use a rolling pin and pin down your clay. So I think that's good. Now I'm going to quickly compress the clay with my yellow Cheryl mud tool rib. Now that our clay is compressed, I'm going to just quickly release it. And which one should we try? I like both of them. Let's do fall, because I like, so I kind of did a theme here. I did the amber celadon with a fall theme, the pinks and greens with the winter theme. So pinks, reds and greens with the winter theme, so it's just that. Okay, so I'm going to just take my roller and leaving a little bit of margin, not right at the edge of the clay, I'm going to start rolling this in. Now I have used this roller multiple times, so it has dry clay on it, so it doesn't stick to the clay. But in case you're using it for the first time, just dust a little bit of cornstarch, because this is plastic. So I've just got this beautiful texture. Oh my god, now I'm thinking I can actually color these up. All right, I need to stop. Okay, so you do this, and I'm going to release the clay, and then I'm going to just cut out 2 lines, because even the roller has made some lines here. Place it here, making sure all my texture is covered, and then taking a needle tool, I'm going to just go, not this one, I'm going to just go across straight up and down and cut this. Now place this here. I know it looks a little slanted in the video, don't worry, we'll fix that. Even if it's slanted, we can fix it, don't worry. Let's just lift this. Okay, because it's a slate simple slab, I can just mold it a little bit to straighten it out, so I'm not too worried. And this is my base. I'm going to quickly just with a damp finger smoothen it out from both sides. Now I'm going to just lift this, stand this, and turn this to see what is the width that I want for my house. Okay, this is too big for me. I think this is too big. I think I can make 2 out of this given that it's this big. But I'm going to start with first cutting off a little bit off. Now the sides I'm going to cut at an angle, at a bevel, X-Acto knife. Okay, so I'm going to just cut this off at an angle here. Okay, and then just here, let's see, this is my first cut to see how my house is looking. Oh, I think that looks good. I can make it slightly smaller. Let me just show you. So I think it's still a little broad, so I'm going to cut off a little bit more from this side. Okay, let me just stand this up. Okay, I think that's a good size for what I'm trying to make. Now let's take a look at the final dimensions of this piece. This is about 7 3/4, 7.75 inches, or in terms of centimeters, about 20 centimeters. And in terms of height, this is about 5.5 or 2 1/4, so 2.25. So those are the dimensions. I'll try and list them if I remember when I'm adding the description in the video below. Okay, so that's my walls. I'm going to quickly just do the sides here with a serrated rib. My clay is soft, so I'm going to just take my serrated rib, dip it in water, and just score the ends here, and then attach them like you do for, you know, any round 3D piece that you're making. Oh my god, the pumpkin just lines up so perfectly. Sorry, my oh my god comes in here again. The pumpkin, can you see how beautifully it lines up? It wasn't intentional. All right, so at these dimensions your pumpkin is going to line up if you use the same roller. But of course you can use any of the, you know, rolling pins or doilies or stamps, whatever you like, or leave it plain, like I have a few which are just plain as well. Okay, I'm just sealing them, making sure that there's an overlap and the two are attached, the two sides are attached nicely. Okay, once the outside is attached, I'm going to start focusing on the inside. I'm going to take my wooden clay knife with the back here. I'm going to just merge the inside as well to seal it off nicely. Okay, now if you see, all my houses are kind of wonky. They're not really perfect, and that's okay. These are my rustic houses. I'm not too worried. See, if they were square, I think wonky squares would look a little weird, but wonky circles don't look as bad, in my opinion. Okay, but I'm still trying to round it off as much as I can. I don't add the windows and the holes and the openings at this point because my clay is soft, and as I am molding it into a, you know, this circular form, it will end up either getting wonky or cracking and other issues, so I don't bother with that at this stage. Okay, now I'm going to just bring in the rest of the clay, and I'm using this cookie cutter, this round cookie cutter, which is about, I think, 4.5 inches in diameter. I'm going to use this for the top. Right, I think this should be more than enough. Okay, maybe a little smaller would also do. Okay, so we're just taking this and cutting a circle. You can always just cut out a circle if you don't have cookie cutter, round cookie cutter. Okay, then I'm going to just and I am cleaning off the rim here. Now again, we're just going to try and find the center of this circle. Is the center well, it's kind of right. So we take the center here, and then I'm going to cut off a pie. I'm going to cut off a section. How pointed or how flat you want your roof. This is a more pointy roof, this is a flatter roof. It's up to you. If you cut out a bigger chunk, you'll have a pointed roof. If you cut out a smaller chunk, you'll have a flatter roof. Flatter and broader, pointy and narrow. So it's up to you what kind of look you want. I usually will just cut it off and see how I like it, and then kind of keep going in and out. So I'm going to start with, actually you can just use your X-Acto knife, clay knife. I usually will make the bevels right here. The only thing you have to remember is start at the center. You'll get a more or less uniform circle. Okay, that was not intentional. Okay, so we cut off about, this is a little less than 1/4 of the circle. So if I'm looking at the circle as a whole, straight, yeah, it's about 1/4. Yeah, if I'm looking at it like this, it's about 1/4 of the circle, slightly smaller than 1/4, but yeah, that is the measurement. I'm going to quickly take care of these. So a lot of my initial things will start off like this with a little bit of play, and then once I've kind of happy with the final, especially for more complex and bigger pieces, if I'm happy with the way it looks, then I'll make a template and go on from there. But for these, this size, I'm not too worried. Okay, and then I'm going to just bevel, slip and score the two sides and attach them here. Now this is my, before I attach them, right now just join them so I can see what this roof looks like. I'm going to bring in my walls and place this on top and see how this looks. Are you happy with the way it looks? Okay, here you see it covers nicely, and okay, let me show you. Yeah, I think that looks good, though I feel I can make it slightly smaller. I want it slightly, you know, closer, tucked in. So I'm going to just open this up again and make a few more cuts. I want it slightly smaller. I don't want such a big overhang. It's a personal choice. So I think 1/4 should be good, I feel, or maybe a little more than 1/4. I think a little bit more here. Okay, let's see if, let me just first seal these marks up, clean these up. Okay, I'm going to see what this looks like. Those are the marks that I made earlier with the needle tool. Okay, this is my size. I'm going to again bring it here, place it on top. I think this is better, so I'm going to go with this one. I'm just going to quickly slip and score the two sides here. Okay, and then making sure first that the base is lined up, then I kind of go up, attaching the two together like this. Just taking care of all the marks on the clay. Okay, so once I've done that, I'm going to quickly just take a damp sponge and clean off the sides. Now that we're done with this, what I'm going to do is, with this rated drip dipped in water, I'm going to go in and just add some score marks here, close to the edge. Bring in this guy, do the same here on the top. Actually, I'm going to bring in a pot because I can see that the base is kind of going wonky. So what I like to do is, I have these little terracotta pots. I'll just take this, place this on top of this, and just get a nice round base there. Okay, and I can place it on this and continue with my work, doesn't matter. At least my base is round, because I saw it's going kind of wonky, so I just wanted to fix that. Top, I can see the base, I can't, so I like to just place it on there. Don't push it too hard, otherwise it'll get stuck. Okay, and then just place this on top. Now before you start pressing and sealing it all together, get down to table level or bring this to your eye level, so you can see if the roof is centered and it's not lopsided and leaning on onto one side. So I'm going to just get down to table level and see how this looks. Okay, perfect. I think this looks fine. Now what I'm going to do is first start pressing on the sides a little bit over here, you know, just so it stays there. And then I'm going to remove this from the board, from the terracotta pot. Okay, I will have to lift it, turn it around. You can see on the inside, I'm going to bring in my clay knife, wooden clay knife, and just keep cleaning that up. Clean it all off here. So I'm just sealing everything up here and also cleaning it up so that there are no clay crumbs here, right? And then you see this part. For this, I'm going to be using the silicone tip tool. Just clean it all and then seal the outside here. I know there are score marks and they'll be taken care of when you run the silicone tip tool around the house, the roof. See, it's getting all cleaned up. There you go, all sealed up. That is done. Now while I'm still here, I'm going to quickly just wipe off the rim of the roof here, and now I have to let it set up before I can make the holes. Now if you start making holes at this stage, you're going to lose the shape. It's all going to be a gooey mess. So all you have to do is let this set up, get it to, this is what it looks like at this point, get it to, you know, soft leather hard, and then we start making our doors and windows and things like that. And it's quite easy because it's a small structure. For now, it's going to set up maybe an hour or so in my studio right now, where I will be able to then poke in the holes and make the door and the windows. It's all, I just cut them by hand. It's very simple. Like I said, this is a more organic shape, so I'm not too worried about it being too precise. So all right, here's our piece. I didn't give it an hour, I just gave it 15 minutes because I'm restless. Okay, so now I'm going to start making the holes. I can't wait anymore. I am going to be using one of these hole cutters. Now I have a set of these, and I like the ones which are like half a barrel because it's easy to clean. The other ones with the barrels, like a full barrel, I think I have a set of those as well, but they still have some dry clay stuck in them, so never mind. They are kind of, I don't like them as much. So I'm going to start with making a hole at the top. I think the easiest way is to just kind of make it through the inside of the roof. So you can see the center there, and I'm just kind of turning this and making a hole right there. Okay, this is not very clean because this is still really soft. If you want to make a bigger hole, you can use a bigger cutter. I think this hole works for me. This size is okay for me. I'm going to just go in once from the top as well. Okay, if you have a little bit of clay, you can see it's come up because my clay is soft and not set up. I'm going to just wipe that off. So that's my top done. Now I'm going to see which is my front and which is my back. So wherever my join is going to be my back. Where's my join? Here's my join, okay, where the pumpkin meets. This is the back. So I'm going to find, and this is my front, for example. Now I have to make a cut here, make house like a door here. It's up to you. You can just make holes and leave it at that. I like to make it as a little house, right, with a little door. You can just make holes, right? What I'm going to do is, just once I have like the front here, this is going to be my front. I'm going to take my clay knife, make a straight cut at the base, kind of following the pumpkin, and then go straight up and cut this off like this. Okay, you can see how organic the process is. Yes, there are cookie cutters you can use to make these, but I think when it's flat, it's easy to use the cookie cutters. When it's in this form, it'll be a little bit more tricky to use the cookie cutters, right? So once I've done that, I'm going to just clean it up. Any extra clay that I see, I'm going to take care of that first. Okay, and then just take my damp fingers and clean off the sides, make sure everything is nice and clean and there are no clay crumbs, because these are going to get sharper as they fire and with the glazing and everything. So that's my door done. I know it's not perfect, but I'm okay with it. I don't mind it at all. And then I'm going to start making my windows. Again, if you want, you can cut it out for the windows, and the rest of it I'm going to use these two hole makers and make holes of different sizes. All right, I'm going to start here, make a hole this way, maybe make a bigger one here. This guy, wow, that's big. And my clay is soft. When it's at leather hard, you won't have all of these soft mushy clay happening. I tried to wait. Okay, it happens sometimes that I can't wait. So you have to then clean up everything. Okay, right now it's a bit messy, it's a bit mushy because of how soft my clay is, but okay, you do that, come to this side, do the same thing on this side. And now I'm going to randomly, and I'm showing it, holding it in my hands. Not ideal. Now I'm going to go around randomly cutting out holes. You can make bigger holes, smaller holes, up to you. But you see how easy it is to clean these? Just going around making sure that, I'm just making one on the top, one on the base, kind of balancing out my holes. Now that the holes are done, right? You have to clean them up with a damp sponge, not drippy, but damp sponge, and your hands. Just clean off all the holes and the clay crumbs. Now for me, I will let them dry outside, but under a plastic for a couple of days so that they don't warp. The only intention is to make sure they don't warp. They won't really crack. The tops usually will not come off. The only thing that will happen is a warping, especially with how I'm rushing the process. The warping will definitely, it'll definitely try to warp. So I'll let it set up under a plastic for about 3-4 days and then let it dry all the way before bisque firing. And after bisque firing, you brush on the glazes, or you can, dip the tops in like this and get a nice, pink roof. It's up to you. So once they are ready, now I'm going to talk a little bit about the lights that I used with these. Now the lights that I used here are called, I think I looked up the term LED balloon light. These lights have a little loop at the back where you can add a string like I've done here, right? Okay, and you can pass this string through here, and then the light kind of comes up here like this. Oh, it's turned on. It's almost dead. That's how you can then use it as a little hanging thing. If you want, you can add a little bead here to act as a bit of a stopper. Yeah, when you leave them on the table like this, the light will kind of drop. So yeah, if you can make a bead or some kind of a system where it doesn't drop, that's great. If you cannot, I just tie my string up like this and it will still stay up there. That works too. So it's up to you how complicated you want to make it. So that was our project for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I really enjoyed making these hanging houses, and I made a whole bunch of these, and I will add the pictures towards the end of a bunch of them hanging together. They can be put on your Christmas trees if you have the real Christmas trees, like with branches which can support a house. But otherwise, a whole bunch of them in a corner also look quite nice. So that was a project for this week. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next week with another video. You guys have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you soon. Bye.